Welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together with your host, John. Well, you're not John Gallina.
I am not John Gallina.
Leah Gutierrez.
Leah Gutierrez, yes.
What are you doing here?
I figured, since John I don't know.
He just didn't show up for work today?
No.
Wow, the CEO must have better things to do than be on the radio
And I didn't
show.
Want you here by yourself.
Well, thank you.
I mean, it does look kind of odd when you talk to yourself.
Yeah, most of the time people are kind to me.
But you do have good conversations when you talk to yourself.
That is true. And I am always in a grill, mostly.
If you could argue with a brick wall, you would.
I would.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm Devin Alexander, or Devil Dog Devin, and you are listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. For I haven't already said that, and we're so excited. I'm rambling.
You are rambling. You're sound like you're racing through your words.
Well, yeah, racing. Is that like a segue?
That is a segue
to our guest. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Who is our guest today? Let's Adam Benaway.
Benaway.
Where you been away from?
Yeah, that's you.
That's you. That's you. We're talking to you, Adam. The guy on the screen, not the guy physically in the studio.
Adam Benaway. Glad to be here this morning. Glad to talk to Devin and Leah. And I'm looking forward to a great show.
Absolutely.
Well, we're looking forward to having you on here. Adam is a veteran and also a representative for Racing for Heroes. Did I say that right? Is that cool? Do you want me to? I'm going to do your, like commercials now. Racing for Heroes.
Don't do that.
No, don't make that noise. All right, cool. But Adam, he recently got out of the Army, and he's been in the racing space for some time. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, brother?
Yeah, so I joined the Army right out of high school. Came here to good old Fort Bragg. Did my entire career here at Fort Bragg, minus the 3 days before retirement, and they changed it to Fort Liberty.
Changed it to
deployment. Always been a gearhead, car guy, and after my first deployment, me and a really good friend who was also on that deployment, we went through pretty tough times during that deployment. We lost a lot of men. My platoon specifically, we had a mass casualty where I lost 9 of my soldiers. I was injured a couple of bars.
Oh my God.
Many backed out. Made a recovery. I got all my limbs. But after that first deployment, my friend and I, we kind of went to motorsports kind of unknowingly as a form of therapy. We didn't really know at the time, but that was kind of like our out. And got big into motorsports in 2007. It's kind of snowballed from there. And I've done TV shows and I've won national championships, and I basically drive anything that has a steering wheel. And then I fell upon Racing for Heroes, and the opportunity just aligned with like where my mindset was with motorsports. And ever since 2017, I've been basically a Racing for Heroes ambassador, doing a bunch of outreach events, such as the one that you and I met in Charlotte. And I think the motorsports world as a whole really connects with what Racing for Heroes offers for a veteran. And just kind of it kind of goes from being a consumer of what they offer to then, for me, I get more out of it by doing the outreach and helping other veterans that are walking through the same step that I have.
That's awesome. So you found value in that racing and that motorsports world, and now you're passing that on through Racing for Heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. And Racing for Heroes and the pillars that we go by, ultimately it's to prevent veteran suicide. But it's not just hey, here, do this, and you prevent suicide. There's multiple layers, and there's no one recipe for any person. So we kind of focus on different things. What can we offer our veteran, whether it's they're trying to recover from a physical injury that's service related. Some guys just need to kind of recalibrate what's upstairs, going on upstairs. Other people need a simple purpose, job opportunities. And then of course, no pun intended, but the vehicle is racing. We can provide a lot of that through racing, and the type of racing we really focus on is endurance racing, where it takes a whole 6 to 12 man crew to run a 12, 24-hour race. And much like the military, there are different levels of responsibilities. And we have found that you may not have the guy that wants to come in and be a driver, just like in the military, and everybody comes in and they're a dork. But you have the planners and the coordinators and the pitch strategy guy, the same way that you have the mechanics, the supply, and the intel section running military.
Just like being in the military.
Very well, where everyone has a role to complete the mission. And that's very familiar to a lot of veterans coming out of the service. So we have found that it is a very good platform to get people back on track, get their mind, on the right azimuth, and could be small or large, but I feel like we help a lot of veterans.
That's awesome. I love what you're doing there, and it's just an amazing mission. And we're talking about using a physical outlet like racing, which just seems like, it's kind of a cool thing to be involved with to begin with. And most veterans probably don't even realize that the help that they're actually going to get by doing something that would seemingly seem like a hobby. That was terrible wording. Man, how did I get on a radio show?
You have a way with words.
We're actually getting ready to come up in a break in about 1 minute. And so you mentioned the event that I met you at, and that was at Charlotte Motor Speedway on a weekend, actually across the street, I believe, at ZMAX or something like that.
ZMAX drag strip. That's where they run the NHRA event.
And they were doing this course where these guys are flying around turns, and it was a crazy fun road course just for all these amateurs and a few pros out there. Really cool. We're going to actually watch that video during the break. Hey, if you're listening on the radio, you're going to want to go check this out on social medias, wherever you get that, YouTube, Facebook, and what have you. And you've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. Check out the video in the break.
Idea how you do that. I'm like, man, that's impressive.
I've been doing it 6 years. It takes a lot of practice to be able to throw a car and trust it like that.
Thank you for this experience.
Yeah, it's awesome. Glad I could share it with y'all.
This is really cool.
All right. Well, we're back. Man, what'd you think of that video?
That was actually interesting. It was like watching a video game, like the arcade games where you like change the view, where you can like watch like how your car looks while driving.
Oh yeah, like
see the brake lights and everything, like Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo. There you go. But I noticed that that you nervous laugh.
A nervous laugh?
Like you sounded nervous, and it was just like you were laughing during.
I mean,
how is it?
I laugh on this show all the time. I mean, you think you make me nervous?
No, while you were in that car racing. like you watching him, he's like barely moving, and then you're like bouncing around like a ping pong ball.
Yeah, he's got a harness on. I got a seatbelt.
Okay, well, that would explain it.
Yeah, so if for anybody who's watching that thing later, or just got done watching it, if you look at me, I'm bouncing around like a ping pong ball, just like Leah said. I've just got like the little lap belt that goes across. This dude's full harnessed up. Like it's a completely different experience for me than it is for him. What Adam, what'd you think of Pete's driving? That was Pete Brushy, by the way. He drives the Red Buffalo car, Red Buffalo in Statesville, North Carolina, big supporters, Purple Heart Homes.
Yes.
Great folks over there. Shout out to them. So Adam, what'd you think about Pete's driving?
A little hard to see because the video is small, but I know Pete, and he travels around quite a bit racing. And for those who don't know what autocross is, basically find a big venue. This one happened to be ZMAG. So the parking lot's probably almost a quarter mile wide by at least a half a mile long. And when the organization comes in, they set up a very kind of technical course. But speeds are anywhere from 45 up to 70 miles an hour. And I happen to be the course designer for that event. So I made that course. And something from your passenger seat, I doubt you actually walked the course. Is that correct?
That is correct. I did not walk the course.
So a little bit of your like kind of flopping back and forth that you were joking about is really not knowing where the course is going. And for the unknowing passenger, that sea of cones, like, it's very chaotic, right?
Absolutely.
You need to pick your way through a little bit, but if you had to drive that as fast as you could the first time seeing it, you'd probably get lost. And that's kind of the art of autocross. Is each event we set up a different course, and the art is to only walk it prior to your 3, or in this case 4 timed runs. But I know Pete, he probably prepared the best as he can. I know he's going through some troubles with the engine. I know his engine has lasted a while, and he's proud about that. But he's kind of redialing in the car and adding new modifications. But autocrossers are, how can I say this? We're all unique. We nerd out on driving around cones in a parking lot, but we do it the most efficiently we can. So if you don't get it, really hard to get.
Well, I will say, you said like 45 to 75 miles an hour. When you're in that car and you're being slung around like a rag doll, it feels a lot faster. The other person in that video was Dawn Bennett, who works in finance here at PHH, and she's fantastic. And she had invited me out there. I had no idea what I was in for, which I was like, yeah, sure, I'm not doing anything this weekend. And it just so happens that this particular event was sponsored by Racing for Heroes.
Nice.
Yeah. And so everything benefited Racing for Heroes, and they were just out there. That's how we met Adam. Adam was just standing around there with his table. And what kind of car do you have out there?
I had a C5 Z06. I think it's a 2002 Chevrolet Corvette Z06. And it's actually John Heinrichsey, which may be completely foreign to you, but he's a professional GM, like test driver, racer for GM for years. and it was his car when it came fresh off the assembly line. And it went through some other hands, but it ultimately got donated to Racing for Heroes. And the SCCA, Sports Car Club of America, gave us a grant a couple years ago to basically use this car as a ride-along car, static display, and on the side of it, it's got the SCCA Foundation, which is their nonprofit arm of the sports car organization. And so, as much involvement as I have with the SCCA, I like to get that car.
We lost Adam. Man, I don't know what happened on that one. But he was just talking about the SCCA, which he's been deeply involved in. But Adam, he's all kinds of involved in this sports car world. Including being on the Speed Channel one time.
I know.
Did you see the segment?
Was it the Are You Faster Than a Redneck?
Are you faster than a redneck? It was great.
That was a very comical episode to watch.
By the way, we'll put that in the links for
Yes.
other folks so you can watch that. We've got a link to that.
I think that the banter was the funniest back and forth.
But we've got Adam back.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that show. You kind of bombed out there for a second. I guess we had a little bad connection. But how did you end up on the Speed Channel, brother?
Oh, so this was when I kind of first got serious into autocrossing, which is the event you were in. And on our little forum, we'll comment on stuff. Hey, Speed Channel's looking for participants for a TV show that they're airing, and it's basically import cars versus these like awesome American muscle redneck cars, and they were all built by like top shops around the country. And it was supposed to portray this like dumb moonshine and redneck versus all these modern import cars. However, all the muscle cars were very well modified and were really fast. So I put my name in the audition and they wanted a video of you like smack talking the rednecks and this and that.
Wait, you're talking the rednecks. You're not the redneck?
I wasn't the redneck in the show. And there's rednecks. I am not good at like scripted smack talking. I'm not. I'm much better in person and out loud.
Yeah.
And they're like, tell us what you're going to say to the rednecks after you show up to the track and see their car. And I'm like, and that's what they wanted me to film for them and send back to them. And I'm like, hey, like your car is cool, but it's slow. Or, it was just very, very basic and horrible, to be honest. The guy's like, we really want you on the show, but you got to give us something. And I tried a little harder, and then finally they're like, okay, we'll get you on there. And there was like 60 something cars that came, and then they even whittled it down to the final like 16, I think, for the weekend of shooting. And then I got on the show, and like they were pretty thrilled with my smack talk. It sounded like you listened to it, but there was one guy on there that almost took my car out, and he was pretty fat, and his belly was touching the and they're like, yeah, I don't know what happened. I just lost control in turn one, and like unscripted, I just get out of the car and I'm like, I know what it was. It was your fat gut. You couldn't turn the wheels. and I know the guy. I'm not going to say you can find it on the show, but like, I'm like, and I feel bad, but maybe I motivated him because after that show, the guy lost over 100 pounds, and maybe it was he was like publicly shamed on a national TV show.
Wow, that's I guess that's what like a professional smack talker does to you right there. Like,
I mean, they asked for it, right?
absolutely. I mean, you were in the Army for 20 years.
I was going to say, I think
The
that's a
fact
military.
Yeah, they asking you to smack talk. I dang well know that you know how to do it. I almost slipped up and said the bad word. Did you?
Oh,
I was like, yeah. I was getting excited. I was talking about smack talk, and I wanted to. I could never smack talk on this show here because I would end up saying some things that the FCC
We
would.
just talked about this yesterday, too.
Yeah, they would shut us down so quick.
So quick.
So
That show, but honestly, that show was my first time ever on a full blown road course. Whereas, like what you saw, Devin, was like an autocross, where it's kind of a smaller course. That TV show was my first time on like a full blown racetrack, and that was right towards the end of a sponsorship by a NASCAR driver, Barry Bodine. He kind of took me as a, I did 2 seasons under his sponsorship in autocross. And then
awesome.
And then things kind of just blossomed from there. That was 2012, 13. And then I got a little more serious and bought a more focused car where I could be competitive and stuff.
Well, we're going to have to put a pin in it right there. We're coming up on a break. That's crazy. You were on a TV show and talked a guy into losing 100 pounds. But hey, you've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We'll catch up with you after this break.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together. And we are on the show with Adam Benaway.
Been away because we've been away on break, right?
We have been away on break.
That's so cheesy.
That was probably more cheesier than mine.
The racing through my words. Wow. Yeah.
Precious. But we got some shout outs, some radio mentions that we got to talk about.
Radio mentions. What are you talking about? Who are you mentioning?
We are mentioning the toy drive at Signal Hill Mall.
Oh, that's a local thing,
That's
right?
a local thing, yes. Statesville, our lovely, illustrious Signal Hill Mall.
So, yeah, if you happen to be local to Statesville.
Yep, on December 8th from 12 to 4, they will be collecting new unwrapped toys. This is hosted by the Statesville Corvette Club.
That's right. Man,
Yes.
wow, that one kind of goes into our theme today, too, with the racing, doesn't it?
It does, actually. It does go into our theme.
Yeah.
But we also want to talk about, yesterday was our Tuesday.
It was Giving Tuesday.
And so we want to thank everyone that gave. And this is actually the season of giving. So, you don't have to just do it on Tuesday.
Absolutely not.
Do it every day.
Yeah, you can any day you want to give.
Any day you want to give.
And it's really important to organizations like Purple Heart Homes and Racing for Heroes that those donations come in from individual donors rather than big corporations, because most of the time when you get to those what we call grants or those big donations, they're targeted for a particular item. So like we get donations to help us build those tiny homes.
Yes.
Home Depot Foundation's been really great for helping us with that. And we've actually got some folks down in Atlanta right now showing one of those tiny homes. But that money can only be spent there. Or we'll get money from to go directly to helping veterans' homes in North Carolina, or we may get one where you have to build a wheelchair ramp for a quadriplegic veteran, and so all those funds that are super targeted, they don't allow us the flexibility to help. So when we have individual donors, we are able to help veterans in other states, or we're able to help in other areas that aren't specific to what the grants focus on. Absolutely. And just maintaining the facilities here, or buying new tools for the tiny home production or wheelchair ramps. And so those things are important. So, hey, if you got the spirit of giving in you, go to phhusa.org. I don't know where the camera is. Where's the camera?
I don't know. But we also have another event coming up that Adam is a part of. Right?
Yeah, this is Adam's event.
This is Adam's event. What you got going on December 14th there, Adam?
December 14th up at Virginia International Raceway, we do an event called Charity Laps. If you don't know what Virginia International Raceway is, it's about a 3-mile road course, and it's built on natural terrain. So there's like an elevation, and show up. We kick off at 8 in the morning, and we run until about 5 o'clock at night. And we do what we call charity or parade laps around the 3-mile road course. And it's been a huge event. I believe this is the 6th year, and it's just grown more and more each year. And myself or 3 other veteran drivers, because we have a kind of a plethora of well-rounded driving, performance driving veterans in our organization. We will take you out on a lead follow lap for about 15 minutes around the racetrack.
Oh, wow.
And it's really fun. You can also purchase a all-day VIP pass where you get to go out pretty much as many times as we can fit you in the line. And we also have a couple sessions that if you bring a helmet and you have appropriate safety gear, it's basically a track day. We go out and you follow one of our faster lead cars, and he basically goes, and as long as you don't pass him, you get to go at a pretty thrilling, more than highway speed around the racetrack. And even though some people may think, 70, 80 isn't that fast, but when you're doing it up over blind corners and tight corners, it's a bit different. But we've done that for 6 years now, and it's a hit every year, and kind of closes off or puts an end to the VIR racing season, and we are the last event off the gate.
So, and where does this event physically take place at?
So the venue is Virginia International Raceway, and it is about 10 miles due east of Danville, Virginia.
Okay.
Danville.
Right
So close to the North Carolina border that you cross over the border 3 times as you come in the gate. So
But that's
from Danville, it's probably an hour 20, 25.
Well, so hopefully we have listeners more than just in Statesville. So it might be right next door for you. So if you're anywhere near Danville, Virginia, it sounds like, it's going to be a really great time. And how do folks sign up for those rides you were talking about? Like, is that on the website or?
You can go to the racingforheroes.org website. We have an event calendar, and that should be the only thing left for the 2024 season. And once you click on that event, it'll give you instructions to either prepay for a VIP or just the morning of check-in procedures. And you can come anytime throughout the day. The earlier, the better, because towards the end of the day, we have a lot of people, and it gets busy towards the end of the day. You can just show up and do everything at the track, or you can prepay and get your spot ahead of time.
So you recommend coming early then?
Say that again.
So you recommend coming early if you want to make sure you get to ride in the.
Yeah, it starts picking up pretty heavy before lunch. Mainly because all these fair weather drivers like to stay inside while it's 35 degrees out. So the first couple hours is pretty thin. And then as the sun comes out and warms up, people start coming out of the woodworks.
So me and the Marines show up in the morning, and then like the Air Force gets there in the afternoon. Is that what you're telling me? You said when it warms up.
Yeah.
They let them out of their hotel rooms and they come over there.
Yeah, they don't like the 8 o'clock morning track days. Tires are cold, the surface is cold, and they don't want to see their breath. So we're going to try this year to have a food truck on site. because VIR is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And so we're looking at that. We're going to have a spot set up for maybe some cornhole just to keep people occupied while we're waiting. But this event has always been awesome. People have a blast. We also have a couple local people that volunteer their cars, like full-blown race cars. And you can pay to ride along with them and do like a full fast flying lap around the track. And they basically donate their time in the cars.
How fast is that, Adam?
Depends on the car you get in. We got a couple. We have our Corvette that we do ride-alongs in, the FCA one that you saw at the event. That'll do 145, 150 on the back stretch. But to be honest, the straightaway speed isn't even really what is exhilarating. It's more the corners and the elevation change.
Oh yeah,
when you're doing
around. Yeah.
When you're doing 60, 70 over a corner that you can't see the other side. You don't know what's on the other side of that track, whereas our drivers do. It's gets your heart racing a little bit.
Sounds really amazing. We're gonna take one more break, right?
Yeah, just one more.
Just one more.
One more. We got to pay for this show.
Got to pay for the show. But when we get back, I do want to talk more about the racing for heroes and your mission and your objectives and everything that you do for the veterans. So when we get back, we'll talk about racing for heroes.
Well, we are back on the radio show. Putting the pieces back together. I'm just trying to be as awkward as Leah was just a moment ago. Am I accomplishing that? I'm just giving her a hard time.
You are. It'll get better. It'll get better over time.
Fantastic job, really.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're just talking like about how you didn't think you could do certain jobs, but radio host. How did that play?
I kind of just fell in my lap.
Yeah. Yes.
I think it's just my stunning personality and my flair for.
Your what?
My husband would say. I never run out of words.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Flair for flab.
Flair for flab. I don't think
flab
that's a
talking.
Flab means talking.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I thought that meant like
if you could see my face turn
that
red.
I got around my love handles, isn't that's flab? Isn't it? Yeah. Oh, I don't think you have much problems with that.
So we are back with Adam, who is an ambassador for Racing for Heroes, and I wanted to get on a little more serious note, Devin.
We do like levity here.
That I know, like for a lot of veterans, as you mentioned earlier in the show, sense of purpose is the biggest thing. And I have said before that when you serve, whether it's 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, you become institutionalized. You know where to eat, where to go, what to wear, when to be there. You know, you're pretty much told how to do your whole life. And so when you get out of the military, it's like those barriers are down and you don't know your left and right limits anymore. You don't know like what you can say. You don't know how far you can go. And I think the biggest thing is it's like trying to find who you are and trying to find your sense of purpose. So I wanted to talk about what is it that, besides just getting in a race car, that your organization provides for veterans that are transitioning or still having a hard time making it into the civilian world?
Yeah, so as motorsports seems to be like our main focus, like I said earlier, that's kind of the vehicle. And a lot of the racing we do is funded out of our own pockets. That really doesn't come from much of the nonprofit and the fundraising. So the other things we focus on, soldiers with physical ailments, loss of limb and pains. We have a network of VA guidance counselors that can help them get their VA claim established. Actually, there's a lot of veterans that only did X amount of years, and they just don't feel I guess they're not up to taking that VA benefit, which I think every veteran should. They deserve it. They earned it. So we have, we can provide help to get connected to get your VA claim submitted. The mental health, we have some in-house counselors that went to school to be a counselor. And that TBI and PTSD often overlap a bunch, and a lot of the symptoms are the same. However, having another veteran that you can talk to that may have gone through the same things that you have to help just kind of get you focused on the right things. And the sense of purpose, this is kind of how I look at it. So a lot of veterans, and bear with me a little bit, this is a good parallel. I think it'll paint a good picture. It's almost like being in the military is like a drug. We go through day-to-day operations, missions, deployment, even more so. But think of like taking a little hit of adrenaline every single day for 6, 10, 15, 20 years, and you're getting 27 years. You literally get addicted to that drug. And then one day, boom, you stop.
Yep.
And in the civilian world, if that was really a drug, what do we call that? That's a withdrawal. And then your body
that is a very good analogy.
That is I don't think I've ever heard that before. I really like that analogy.
So now we got all these veterans that basically need to fill that void. And typically, I'm sure we have all had close friends that have turned to a negative fill for them, whether it's drugs, alcohol, or genuinely dangerous activities. I don't know, or a bad lifestyle. So even if it's on motorsport, what we can provide is that fill. Some of the sense of purpose is we do a lot of training with soft unit, and there's a lot of guys that have gotten out and they have all this expert knowledge and experience. And like the president, he runs a tactical mobility training facility, and a lot of those guys that at one time in their life couldn't make it a day without, putting down a bottle of alcohol or, some kind of drugs. Now it becomes some of his lead instructors, and that rebuilds that sense of purpose.
That's really amazing that all those programs that you're providing. I mean, when you hear racing, you don't think about the counseling things that you're doing.
Camaraderie.
Yeah.
I know, like for me, like working here with other veterans, we don't talk about our experiences or anything, but it's just surrounding yourself with people that in your mind have had some kind of the same experiences. So it's just like they get it. So if you're having a bad day or if you're having an off day, it's like you don't have to explain yourself. You just, I don't know. I just feel like, if I just feeling blah, it's okay. Like I don't have to explain why I'm feeling.
And sometimes it even comes from the tough love aspect. And I tell somebody, hey, man, you got to get your active with this.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes they need that.
But it's more accepted to hear it from another veteran or someone that understands versus, just someone that, the civilian, I keep saying civilian, but I just know, like you said, it is like a drug. Like as soon as you said that, I was like, whoa, because I felt like when I got out, it was like the door shut and Uncle Sam was like, go forth and prosper. It's like you went through the door shut, and it's like literally now, and it feels like you were completely just cut off.
Oh, it is a complete shock. And most people go in the military, they go in at a very young age. I mean,
I was 17.
Your entire adult life has been spent in this culture that is completely separate from the regular experience of the average citizen of the U.S.
But just listening to what your organization does, where, like you said, not everyone is wanting to be a driver. Not everyone is, wanting. You got people that, like you said, that might be have a logistics experience and operations experience, and then mechanical. So I like how your organization encompasses various experiences into your one organization, like to make a team. Like I really found that to be interesting, that you are working to find what path that the soldier wants to go to within your organization.
And oh man, I just lost. And it's not, I think I mentioned this in the little write-up about it. There's no one fits all answer. There may be a guy who he comes in and he doesn't want anything to do with the racing, like the physical at the track racing. Maybe he is just behind the scenes, and that fills his void. But whatever it is that fills the void. But something else I'd like to hit on is we're actually building and expanding our health and wellness center at VIR. One of the big things is to get veterans away from like the pharmaceutical. And I think we all know the mass amount of like pills they just kind of throw at issues.
You get the VA, they're just like pills. It's
yeah,
and that's their cure all for everything is pills, and it's really
and we're trying to get away from that. A lot of it is like vitamin deficiency. We have a pretty good doctor that has worked with like NFL and other professional teams, and it's something we do with blood work. We send some blood work in. He analyzes your blood, and he'll say, "Bam, you're in really low dosage on, for example, vitamin D. Take these supplements, not pharmaceuticals, and they're much more inexpensive, and they don't have the side effects. So many of the uppers and downers that they prescribe to veterans are amplifying the already downward spiraling like mentality that they have. They're already down in the gutters, and then they give them something that puts them even further in the gutters. And some of these have even caused and known to cause like suicidal thoughts as a side effect on the label, and yet we're
giving it to people that already have issues with that. Now, hey, Adam, we've got about a minute and a half left. Is there anything that you want to hit on in this last little segment?
Yes, so Racing for Heroes, I kind of mentioned it at the event you were at. The back of it says ROE, weapon free. And what that means is there's no like, hey, you have to go through this 6-week program to be a beneficiary or whatever. Racing for Heroes is like open and willing to help any veteran however they need. You don't have to be a 20-year veteran. You don't have to be a soldier of valor. We have multiple assets and ability to help, medical, mental, job employment. We could be back on the ground. So feel free to reach out to Racing for Heroes. And the icing on the cake is the racing motorsports side. That's not what we're doing. We're not taking donations to go racing. We try to use that as a billboard.
It's awesome. Hey, we appreciate you, brother. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of our time. You want to hear more about Adam, go to racingforheroes.com or .org. .org. Hey, you've been listening to Putting Your Pieces Back Together.